Now, what was the world before sin? Now, let me tell you. So, before sin, Adam and Eve walked with God in perfect harmony. In perfect harmony, guys. Imagine walking with God in perfect harmony. Okay, but so, in Genesis 2:25 it says, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. See, there was no concept of right versus wrong, innocence versus guilty, and pure versus corrupt. So not because everything was perfect, but because they didn't judge it. And they simply trusted God. Now, what sin really was? You see, that's the question we're asking. What sin really was? Sin wasn't just eating a food. It was choosing independence from God's authority. In Genesis 2:17 says, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. The moment Adam and Eve ate, they didn't become evil. They became aware. They were aware that they could be wrong. Aware that they could be judged. Aware that they could lose something so precious to them. That awareness brought shame. The immediate effects of sin. The immediate effects of sin. So we got 3. So let's go start with number 1. Shame. In Genesis 3:7 says, then the eyes of both were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves coverings. Suddenly, vulnerability and dangerous. 2, we got fear. In Genesis 3:8 it says, and they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden, and they hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. So with that, it brought fear into the world, not because God changed, but because humans did. 3, we got separation. In Genesis 3:23 it says, therefore the Lord God sent him out from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. Sin fractured relationship, both with God and each other. Now, how did sin change humanity? See, after sin, work becomes exhausting. You can see that in Genesis 3:17 all the way to 19. Relationships are complicated. Life is fragile. See, in Genesis 3:17, it says, cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Sin didn't just break rules. No, it broke harmony. Now humans live with guilt, desire, conflict, and death. We created all those from sinning, and now we gotta live with those. Now, what if sin never happened? Now, that's a huge question we all ask. So I'm just gonna try to explain it to you. So if Adam and Eve did not sin and did not eat that fruit, we'd have 3 things: eternal innocence, which would get no shame, no fear, no guilt. In Genesis 2:25 says they were both naked and were not ashamed. So 2, we would also have no inner conflict, no anxiety, no pride, no self-hatred. 3, no history as we know it. See, we'd have no wars, injustice, or suffering. but also no courage, no redemption, no meaningful love. See, humanity wouldn't exist, but never wrestle with meaning. But that is a dream. See, as the devil would have tried to tempt someone else, which would have created sin, but in a different perspective. Well, not through Adam and Eve, through maybe their kids, or their kids' kids, and all that, which would have just created a different history and time as we know it. Now guys, what's the hard truth about sin? Sin ruined the world, but it also created stage for mercy, love chosen freely, faith, and redemption. See, in Romans 3:23 it says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." And also Romans 5:20 it says, "Where sin increased, grace abounded all the more." Without sin, love is automatic. With sin, love becomes a choice, and choice carries weight.